showtime.
It's time for that radio show everyone loves.
Do not attempt to change the station.
Just listen, and we'll keep broadcasting.
It's time to begin the show.
103.9 LI News Radio presents Your Island, the very best in talk radio, with your host, Tom Schiliro.
And once again, welcome back. This segment of our program is being brought to you by the Suffolk County Police Benevolent Association. Now, PBA, it serves to support law enforcement, participate in special events and programs, all designed to help protect our community. They care about you and keeping us all safe. From the anti-drinking and driving campaigns to protecting our children with education on the Megan's Law, PBA promotes a great relationship between the police and the people it's sworn to serve. Suffolk County is one of the safest counties in the country, and the PBA takes pride in its strong belief in our security. They have honored our fallen heroes and contribute greatly to our suburban way of life. Need to know more? Go right to that website, www.suffolkcountypba.org. Noel DiGirolamo, President. Again, all week long, we'll be talking about the Supreme Court, getting to some of the local issues, and again, reminding folks that election night, this is the place to be. 103.9 will be live streaming on Facebook. We've got local coverage and so on, but I will be talking about it. The most important night of our lives politically is 3 weeks from tomorrow. Now, we've got a great topic coming up. I get a lot of emails and text messages on the schools because people are concerned. It seems like there's topsy-turvy stuff going on. I want to call this segment, without a doubt, it's a review of what's happening in our schools. For the most part, in this age of COVID. It's teaching the schools in the age of COVID-19. And no better person to have in the studio, and that is Lisa Navarra of Child Behavior Consulting. Lisa's one of our regular contributors on a wide array of topics, so it's always great to have Lisa in the studio. Lisa, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Tom. Thanks so much for having me. How are you today?
All right, we're doing well. A lot going on in the news. But, you know, this COVID-19 is almost resurfaced as a forefront issue because of the president contracting it a couple of Fridays ago in the hospital for a couple of days. It's back there again. I'm going to put it as number one. Americans are concerned about it again. They saw the president of the United States get this wretched virus that we all wish would just go away. It's not. It's affected all walks of life. And the schools have been accentuated more as to part of the problem because it's not just the kids getting to school, it's the parents, the work schedules, the schedules on working around kids and what they're doing. How are they going to learn if they're in the schools? Just so many things here. And so many people are writing in about various school districts in our listening area and how they're doing this and how they're doing that and how some teachers are having a very difficult time. So these are all part of our discussion, because this is the first year in the age of COVID-19. And it has certainly taken on a dynamic that professionals like you have had to consider on what is the best way in which to deal with this. So with that, I want to start off to saying, give us an update. And by the way, folks, we're taking calls, 631-451-1039. How have you been impacted by our schools? And are you happy with the way things are going? Lisa Navarra.
As you had mentioned, there is almost a resurgence of attention back on COVID. And what I'm finding is that we are all thrusted into immediate change. And so we were thrusted into, we need to stay home. We need to quarantine. We need to have our masks on. Now schools are opening up. They're not opening up. Now they are opening up. And what does that look like? And with all of these changes comes immediate responses. And what I'm talking about now is the schools. How are we doing? And I have to say one thing, the kids and the educators are so thrilled on average to be back in school and in the classroom. And it's going fairly well in terms of teaching the children directly. It seems to be very safe and effective too, with all the measures that they worked so diligently all summer and spring long to be able to provide for the children come this fall.
Our number here is 631-451-1039. But I don't think there's any getting away from it. This isn't a normal or an average school year. We're a little over a month into it already. And I guess what I'd like to bring out is, what is that status report? Right now, you said good. kind of good. I'd like to get more specific than that. And it's not just the students. I mean, the teachers coping with this. Is education really happening, or are the teachers imparting knowledge? I always thought that was a big part of what teachers do, is to try to expand the mind of a young person to the point that they could discern the lessons in front of them. I wonder if that is taking place, because we're in a non-traditional type of educational system right now.
So when we're talking about imparting knowledge, I want to start with the fact that there was so much anxiety when we were opening up schools. There's lots of educators and people who worked in schools who are taking leaves of absences. There are still people who feel like I shouldn't be here and it's too dangerous. However, the reality is, elementary, even middle school, the kids are keeping their masks on. The educators are keeping their masks on. And I actually, from what I have seen, schools are cleaner and safer than ever. They have specific cleaning protocols that are happening, as well as people are keeping their distance. And when children are reminded, because kids need reminders, oh, we're too close, let's back it up a little bit. They are so cooperative because they just are so motivated to be there and to learn, compared to when they've had to learn online. Which then brings us into that imparting of knowledge. And that's really tricky, Tom. There's a lot of different models with schools that are going on. And so let's talk about the model that incorporates online learning to any degree, whether it be the student is fully remote, meaning that they're staying home 100% of the time, and they're doing work, whether it's live work where they can actually see their teacher real time, that's synchronous learning, or let's talk about the child also then who doesn't have live instruction, but they are looking at maybe videos, answering questions, and doing activities and lessons online. And that's really tough, and it's difficult for a variety of reasons. A lot of reasons incorporate the ability to have the technology, being at the technology's mercy if it's going to work. There are still families out there who do not have internet, and school districts are still working on getting them devices as well as hotspots. It's a tremendous undertaking.
All of that, without a doubt. I mean, if you think about it, it's and I'm glad you're painting the picture that you are. We can't paint this as a rosy picture. Again, we're talking about teaching the schools in the age of COVID-19, which is really where we're at right now. I'm with Lisa Navarra. We're taking your phone call, 631-451-1039. We got Colin over there on Quorum. Colin, you're on the air.
Hey, Tom. Thanks for taking my call. So I was calling in because me and my wife are both going to college, and we have a son who just started kindergarten as well this year. So it's been pretty tough on both ends. Like, being in college, both of us, like, it's really hard to learn any of the content. And, it's really hard to just learn anything over the internet. And then the other day, they tried having my son, his kindergarten teacher, tried having him read the book that she was holding up. It's kind of impossible on a computer. So it's like, how are you even really learning at this point? It's really hard.
See, this is what I want to hear. I want to hear from the folks on these type of stories that you're talking about. Lisa, respond to that, because that's,
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Colin. This is really great insight for our listeners to be listening and learning about. So imagine you as an adult, you have your goals, you're in college, and how difficult it is that you want to be able to engage in the learning process. Now we have children such as your son's age of being in kindergarten, or throughout, how difficult that is, just alone. Now, yes, there are some students and children who, they do respond very well to learning online. Maybe there's some social issues. It's easier and they're able to concentrate and focus more. However, it's not the majority. And then the other point that you mentioned, and it's wonderful that you mentioned it. This poor teacher. Now, remember when I said today, we started with today's show about being thrusted into change? There's lots of ways you can upload books onto an online platform, but maybe that was a special book and it wasn't available and she wanted to read it, or maybe she just in her learning process just isn't there yet. It's so hard to describe the curve of learning that's happening and at its rapid rate And the demands are, okay, you need to do it right now, you need to do it well. And we all want to, but it's so unfamiliar in terms of the technology, the programs. How do you upload information onto a program to get it in a way where children can learn? But not only that, now everything's PDFs. How do you change a PDF into an edible form? There's such little details that are impacting the progress and the speed at which it happens. We're going to get there because we have to, just like everybody else, right? But it's a learning process. And so you bring up some really valid points, Colin. Thank you for that.
Follow up, Colin?
Yeah, thank you.
But thanks for calling, Colin. Appreciate it. 631-451-1039. You know, I'm thinking of this poor kid sitting in front of the computer trying to read a book because the teacher's holding it up. I guess they're trying to, I guess, computer time. I don't even know what you call it. I know that kindergarten child would know better than I do. But just to try to do that is, it's so tough. You know, we could tear down this system, Lisa Navarro, we can do that, but we need to come up with solutions. No one thinks the system is good. Teaching under the age of COVID-19, how could this be good? How could this be something that we're now going to explore new horizons? You're not exploring new horizons. This is horrible what's going on. And I guess what Colin had said is that him and his wife are busy, they're going to college. They thought at a time it would be easier because he would be in the kindergarten. Maybe he still is, or maybe 2 days a week or something, because I don't know what these school districts are doing. But this is not good. We need to come up with solutions. Lise, what do you say?
So I might really be well ahead of my time. However, what I think that we should do is have smaller class sizes and hire more teachers. Why smaller class sizes? I say that because then you can socially distance, spread out the desks, and maintain that safety with your distance. Okay. But we still then would have the challenge of a number of things. One, the budget, right? We need to hire more teachers is what I'm proposing. And two, if we're able to do that, then we're having more students in schools at one time, because I'd like to see everyone in schools and not have this hybrid or this fully remote option. Now, we could do that as an emergency if a school had to be closed down and be prepared for it. But we've spent so much money on providing computers and programs that I can't help but wonder, how far are we going to take it? Will this always be an option to some extent? And if so, what are the long-term effects that will happen from children learning online as just part of their quote-unquote regular educational career? I have concerns about that. So my solution is smaller class sizes, hire more teachers, and figure out the space problem. If you have to build, you get portables, you make it happen.
So you're still favoring this in-school learning, as opposed to what Colin was telling us, that his child has to sit in front of a computer and try to read a book. Again, assuming that the computer's home and the child is home and he's trying to do his schoolwork. And I have to give any young child that way a tremendous amount of credit to try to learn that way. So the whole idea of what your idea would be is to make sure they're in a physical structure, a building, a school, in order to make that happen.
Yes, absolutely. Now, I will say this, because nothing is 100% in life, I believe. And so with that, and because we are still in this pandemic, I think we need to really also pay attention to those students who have an immune system that is compromised. And I'm talking more than a mild case of asthma, because I'm telling you what I've been hearing and what I am seeing myself. They are maintaining distance. They are keeping their masks on, and the schools are cleaner than ever. But if there is a compromised immune system there to a certain degree, then online learning really might be temporarily the best option.
So when it comes to that, 631-451-1039, taking phone calls, talking about the teaching, the schools, the age of COVID-19, how do we get it all done? Very important topic, subject. I know a lot of people write into our radio station, their parents, their grandparents, their whole schedules are upset, the way this thing is working right now. You know, we had, last time we had Lisa on, school hadn't gotten started yet. School is now in session for a month. and we're trying to do a prognosis of where we're at. 631-451-1039. Mike from Manorville. Mike, what do you say? You're on the air.
Hey, what's going on? A couple things I want to point out. One, my company, my guys have been working all over the country this entire pandemic in hospitals. We've worn masks and protected ourselves. Not one of them has gotten sick. Not once. The other thing I want to say is my wife and I both work. We can't afford to have our kids sitting home. And the other thing is, you can't add more teachers. I have to go and sit with a fourth grade teacher who's a doctor. I can only imagine what she makes. I don't need a doctor to teach my children. And more teachers is more money. The kids are fine. And my kid loves going to school. We got to stop the nonsense. This is insane.
That's a good point. Lisa, I'm listening to Mike, and I'm telling you, that's what I hear out there. Again, it would be nice if we had enough money, we could throw money at everything, and everything would be fine. But the way the budget crisis is happening on the county level, the state level, on the federal level, and what Mike is saying, I hear this from a lot of people. We can't easily dismiss it, particularly, Mike, as a parent.
Well, I agree. Yeah. What's happening is that the cases where the children have been diagnosed with COVID and then that school is closed, they do a deep cleaning, they quarantine that child as well as the teacher and whatever students or adults who have been around that child. And so they're coming from outside in. I haven't yet, and again, school's just started, and this is something we should explore further, but I haven't seen a spread from the schools inside, if you will, out. And so with that, we still need to, and I think this part, and you tell me what you think, we still need to socially distance, because look at those hotspot areas. They're from areas and communities that aren't distancing, and their numbers are really rising. So I think it's very important to continue with these smaller class sizes to be able to maintain that, as well as those safety measures. But I'm not talking 5-10 kids. I'm talking we can have 18, depending on really probably about 18, depending on the class size itself, right?
And you see what Mike is saying is that his experience says that if you do the social distancing, you wear the masks, which they've been doing, his company has been doing that not one of his people, his employees, for the most part, came down with it. If we can do the same thing in the schools. Mike, final thought?
No, that's it. I mean, remember, we travel all over the country, and we're working in hospitals. From day one, wearing masks and just being smart, not one person has gotten sick. That's 15 tests every day. On planes, trains, automobiles, never getting sick. I'm not saying it's not dangerous. You can get sick, but just practicing social distancing and wearing your mask, they've all been fine.
All right. Appreciate it, Mike. Thanks for the phone call. Again, Lisa, it's almost like trying to get back to where it was. Can we go, let's just turn back the hands of time, and let's go back to a year ago. I don't know if we can go that far, but I like what you're saying in terms of 18 in the class rather than 6, some social distancing. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to take this right up to the 2 o'clock hour, but let's take one more call before the break. We've got Joe over there in Brookhaven. Joe, what say you?
Hi, guys. Just wanted to say hi because I met Lisa walking out the other day, and I'm listening to the conversation, and I don't know where it's going, but, the schools have been great. The district, they provided all the Chromebooks. And we have like 6 of our kids are enrolled in the district here, and but we're doing the home remote learning, full remote learning, because if one child, if you've read the reopening plan, which we did, if one kid tests positive, they quarantine the whole family for 2 weeks, and then they check up on you, the health department. And I'm self-employed. I couldn't get quarantined, so we couldn't take a chance. So it's been very difficult for my wife, because she says she has to learn access to all the links, and that takes hours to figure it out for her. And then she's got to teach the kids once she finds it. But my heart breaks for the kids who are involved. They're on football, wrestling, they're in sports, and that they haven't been able to do that. And my heart breaks for those kids. And my one son's in the gym. He's a health nut workout, and he has to write essays. So he's not doing well in it, because he did write essays. He wants to work out and do sports. So I don't know what to say besides that.
Well, first of all, Joe, please tell your wife I think she's an angel, because I do know how difficult it is with even one child, and to have all your children be able to go through the process of this remote learning. As you see, even your one example of knowing the links, how to get on, it is daunting. It is daunting, and it really takes a certain level of discipline to be able to make sure that your child gets online, is doing the work, shows up according to your teacher's schedule. It's a tremendous amount of dedication and commitment from at home and in school, and working together the best that we can and keeping lines of communication is the only thing that's really going to make this situation feasible at all. So thank you for that insight for our listeners.
Appreciate it, Joe. We're going to take a short break. I'm your host, Tom Schiliro. I'm with Lisa Navarro. We're talking about teaching the schools in the age of COVID-19. We get back. I want to explore with Lisa parents as teachers and how that is working itself into the system. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back.